Alrighty, I believe everything is all set up and good to go. Let's go ahead and let Discord know. Let's go ahead and check all my settings here. If you guys hear meowing in the background, it's just Luna being out. Okay, it looks like the stream started. Let's go ahead and let Discord know real quick. Stream starting now. Let's see here. Alright. And we'll refresh the page. And yeah, tonight will be a bit of a shorter stream, but I'm still here to hang out and chat with you all. Hopefully it will still be nice and good and a fun little way to spend part of the night. And let's see, I think this is left over from me doing something else. It's just a random little tab I had open. But otherwise, I hope you're all having a wonderful night. I hope we're all comfy and cozy. I actually had soup right before stream started, and I was trying to eat it so fast, I actually burnt my tongue. Hello, Callie. It's good to see you. Welcome on in. I don't know if you have anything you've submitted so far. Oh, I gotta do a posture check. Thank you for the posture check. Alrighty, everyone stretch. Everybody, make sure you're sitting properly in your chair. I don't think I am, so that was probably a good check. Hello, Juna. It's good to see you. Oh, you do have something to show? That's exciting. That's very exciting. How's everyone doing tonight? Is everyone comfy and cozy? I already had too much soda today, so I'm actually being good, and I have a cold drink of water tonight. I hope you guys have been staying hydrated. I've been being bad about it. I've not been drinking water the past few days. So now I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to make good decisions. I'm not very good at it, though. Let's go ahead and check the Discord. I don't believe it's going to show up in your guys' screen here. But let's check story submissions. Oh, I also have some stuff from Niels Karada. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but that is also in the Discord. And let's look. Oh, maybe... I think Callie's maybe messaged me stuff before. Callie, do you know if you're going to be messaging it or just putting it in story submissions? Someone, I forget who it was on Discord, I believe a few days ago, talking about, or they were having issues with people still being viewers afterwards. So yeah, if you don't want people being viewers of your Google Doc when everything's all said and done after you get your critique, you can delete it from the Discord if you want to. You can remove anyone from having access or from being able to view it. You can mess around in your settings and make sure people can't do that. But yeah, I also make sure nobody has permission to edit. You don't want anyone messing with your files. That is I'll never mess with your files unless accidentally, which is also well, you shouldn't give me editing powers. That's why you're sending it in DMs. Okay, that works for now. I think in the future I'm honestly going to maybe try limiting some of the DM stuff. It's just getting really hard to keep track of everything. I do understand why you're doing it, and that's fine for now. I'm just trying to think of how do I set this up in the future to be better for everybody, and for me to keep track of stuff. You know, it's not always the best. I know Discord's different than other social media sites, but having DMs from a lot of people and going through a lot of people's DMs, it can be a little bit overwhelming as I'm getting more and more raccoons here. You know, it's a little like, whoa. There's even people DMing me who I do not know at all from chat here. They're sending me links that they don't want read in the stream. I've already said a yes to a few people. I know that they're waiting on my critiques back and forth like that, like Author Relic and one or two others. But other people, I'm like, I do not know who you are. So that's like getting to be like, oh, this is... I've opened Pandora's box. There's a lot of stuff happening. I don't believe I'm seeing anything from you yet, Callie. You mean in the Discord DMs, right? I'm not failing at Discord, right? Anyway. I've been standing up for 11 days straight, and today I walked a mile. Back pain. Oh no. Oh. Don't mind me, I'm a baby. It's not too bad. But man, a whole mile today, that's great. That's fantastic to get up to a mile today. Me and Mama Cryptid, we're working on our walking. Hello, Penny. It's always good to see you. Welcome on in. I've been a little bit silent the past 3 days. There was stuff going on, but we're just gonna have a nice night tonight and not talk about all the craziness happening in the real world. You know what I mean? I just remembered I was going to tell you that it's possible that my concussions gave me autism. I do not think that's what happened. I don't think that's what happened at all, Judah, but okay. Whatever you want to believe. Oh, I think we have something from Callie here. I think I do have that. So I'm going to close that. You're going to have a little bit of a different screen here. Let me open my Google Docs. And this is the same thing. Callie, we've mentioned it before. Your screen is like gray. I don't know why it's just yours. You're on a 10 stream streak, Penny. That's crazy. It's medically backed up. Sure. WebMD doesn't count. That's right. Hello, Chatty Matty. Good to see you too. Hello. Oh, am I getting a message from beyond? Well, what's the secret message here? Just why? Why what, Callie? I feel like we're doing a Ouija board. Oh my goodness. Everyone put your fingertips on the screen right over here, right next to the Y. This is your... Did you forget how to spell conscious? This is your conscious. How do you spell that word? Right here. Honestly, I was gonna call bullshit, but that is absolutely something that my brain would say. Hello. Sorry, having such a lot of stress the last few days. I feel you, Chad and Maddie. And hey, I hope for you and me both things start looking up a bit. I hope we have some nice relaxing days up ahead. That would be really welcomed. Good morning again. Hello. Now, as my sippy, I hope you guys all have some nice cold water. And otherwise, let's see. This is 5 pages. Oh, you just took a nap. Oh, that sounds nice. New year, and you started it with the flu, Petty. I'm so sorry. Apparently, it's been going around. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad I don't hang out with people. People have cooties. When I worked retail, whatever thing was going around, you always get sick when you're in retail. I feel like you're sick 24/7 when you're in retail, and like customer service jobs, and then there's just times when you're more sick. Like you're actually more sick. Your sister brought it home. Well, you gotta get rid of her. You gotta throw her out the window. Gotta leave her outside, lock the door. Don't let her back in. She has the plague. So this is chapter 4. Did we leave off at chapter 3 with you before, Callie? I just don't quite remember. Or is this just like, are we like poking around a little bit? Are we jumping around in your storyline? Oh, you caused that. I think I did see mention of that in the chat. You caused World War III over disputing something in your med file. Mama Cryptid had to do a lot of stuff like that for Papa Cryptid, in the hospital, like years ago. She was watching that stuff like a hawk. I went to Smith's to get a flu shot and left without one, but with a Bluetooth Dorito speaker. As you know, you make a lot of interesting choices in life. I hope you know that. Oh, Christmas started with you having a sore throat. Plague! Everyone has the plague. If we jumped around, I think I would confuse it like a different... Okay, so we're not jumping around? Okay, we're just going straight? Yeah, lots of sickies, though. Oh my goodness, you guys all have cooties. Why do my raccoons have cooties? Damn you too. Oh my god. You guys are all just gross. You guys got cooties. Except unless I'm sick, in which case I don't have cooties, then I'm actually sick. It's only cooties when you guys are sick. You didn't get sick, Cal? Yeah. I even jacked up a consent director with them too. I'm so mentally dead over that. I bet. No cooties, just rabies? No, wait, the cuties can be cured. The rabies can't yet. I don't think so. No, I don't think there's anything for rabies yet. Nell, the murderous piano tutor. So I think we left off with that, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Callie, the rats were attacking the main character, and then the main character was using the zombie arm of his friend to, like, knock down the beams of the house, of this piano school. So I believe that's where we left off. No rabies, only rabies. Best thing though, I got to hear Dr. Custigo for a phone call. Oh, that's always either really good or really bad. I don't think there's an in between for that one. Okay, so Nell, the murderous piano tutor. And I think if I get anything wrong, there's gonna be a Ouija board spirit here typing messages in the Google Doc. The promise that you could learn to speak again carried many of the sick to the piano school for the deaf. Uh-oh. See, I told you. Callie, stop being my consciousness. You're doing too good of a job. Possessed document. It will tell you horrific things like boo and roar. Like a 2000s e-girl. School for the deaf. A plague we call the Howling Red had desperate parents enrolling their kids to learn to sing and play again. Zoinks. Oh wait, fuck, I missed the last bit. Oh well. The Howling Red had desperate parents enrolling their kids to learn to sing and play again. So there is, the we again. I'm wondering about that. A Howling Red is a corrupt frequency of resonance that rips the affinity for sound from the vocal cords and eardrums. It attaches what we've called a bleeding echo to faces that grow across the body. I used to be one of them. Okay, so this is written from someone's perspective. Okay. Writhing, screaming for the burn to stop, only for the words to be snatched from my throat, given to gashes across my body that howl for me. It's best if no one else goes through that. But through my corrupt, sacrificial resonance is the reason... But though my corrupt, sacrificial resonance is the reason for the onset of the Howling Red, I must continue. My corrupt, sacrificial resonance is the reason for the onset... So this person caused the Howling Red? Like all of it? Or just their own? That's, you don't have to answer that right away. That's just me as a reader. I'm having questions about that. It was only when I inherited the 8 schools that my illness went away. 8 buildings the town cherished for their healing powers. Harmonic manipulation is a power I have mastered utilizing the power of resonance. Those who use harmonic manipulation alter minds, bodies, and even reality by mimicking its inner vibrations. A magic that requires compassion for the inanimate. Though I promise them a cure, a surgeon who feels no compassion for a patient can only see the human as the machine. I once hoped that if I could rebuild the human body, I could feel for them again. I could feel for my daughter if only I transformed her. If only I transformed... Is it I could feel for my daughter only after I transformed her? Though because no one found the good in what I did, not even my husband, I had to start these schools. The schools express my every desire in their build. So here she says she started these schools. But then here it says when I inherited the 8 schools. Gargoyles, open mouth and teeth song through the mist. The large double door is a rotted redwood. Skeleton arms hang from the doors with open arms for death. Okay, maybe classes and stuff. So she inherited the buildings, but she started the classes. Okay. For every student, there is one grand piano. I must disguise my intentions behind a tutor with some higher purpose. She has to disguise something. There's something here she's hiding. Okay. Their king questions investigating the longevity of membership. Many assumed this wasn't that great a school. Still, the students came to learn and grow, and learned too late what my intentions were for them. Their bones melted, molded to form instruments, their embellishments staring at those below from the walls. Their embellishments staring at those below from the walls. Okay. So that they form instruments and like little decorations, and they're staring down decorations on the wall. Okay, I'm catching up. I do not consider myself a monster. They can still feel, and finally, with my help, they can sing. I promised that I would arrange a performance in another country for those who learned to play well. That always came with its own set of complications. Where is my child? They asked. Why has she been gone for so long? Bring her back. There's an explanation for why I cannot simply pluck the resonance from their minds and transform their worry into joy. Resonance is like a swinging guillotine. I'll make a note of this one. If you want to highlight it in the doc, I'll come back to it. It's like the blade is swinging above my hands as I reconstruct the frequencies of their tissue and bones. The guillotine lets me feel as they do. Though just as I am with my pupils, the blade is kind. It does not sever my nerves so that I cannot experience my wrist disfigured. When the guillotine makes a pass through my flesh, I do not bleed. And when I take their limbs to form legs, their teeth to form keys, and their backs to form the hood of the piano, they do not bleed. Do not bleed is repeated twice, just as a note. I turn their blood into wax and their screams into song. There's one girl called Angela. I don't know why I said that one weird. Let me take a sippy. There's one girl called Angela, always so bright, yet slow in every transition of pose. She'd recline on trees in the forest and wait for the clouds to veil the heaven's orb. Her eyes followed the tails that snuck across the darkening skies. Arms wouldn't make haste to shield her eyes. Face would remain gentle and refuse to grimace at the harsh rays. Then her mouth would open as if mimicking the clouds to gobble down that massive star. Of course, when I turned her into a piano, it didn't respond to my fingers at all. And if it did, it was delayed, a useless, beautiful thing. So even though they're pianos, they can still not work properly. As I use that same resonance for telepathy, it swings the other way, but the mind hides more secrets than the body. The blade becomes cruel. I cannot manipulate the neurons with the same dexterity as the blood vessels. Many have gone insane at my touch. My own mind may not be as stable as I believe, but I cannot feel remorse for those who turned me into this. I will not mourn the loss of a fellow citizen. I will celebrate when that citizen recovers and the mind adapts to my composition and they become my slave. Another secret of Shamblefoot and Ember Cage, the capacity to manage staff. Those of Ember Cage are capable of summoning the Fae, capable of commanding the Fae, the Banshees and Farshees of Bellowjaw. Shamblefoot expands their reach to objects as well as humans. So Shamblefoot controls objects and people. Embercage controls the Fae. The Banshees and Farshees are of Bellowjaw. What does Bellowjaw do? Oh, okay. Hydrate or dihydrate. Here is a sippy. And hello, T. It's good to see you. I'm actually being healthy today and having water. So I feel like sometimes it gets a little confusing and hard to remember which house is doing what. And you gotta lock in on writing right now. You can do it, T. I believe in you. Bellowjaw are closest to death. And you don't know what they do yet. Okay, so if you don't know what they do, I'm a little confused why they're mentioned in this one. So Embercage controls Fae, Banshees, and Farshees. Shamblefoot controls objects and humans. I'm not sure why Bellowjaw is mentioned here, other than I guess the Farshees belong to Bellowjaw. In which case, but Embercage controls them. It just feels a little confusing here. So whatever the world building is for these houses, maybe like make it a little bit more concrete of what each house actually does. That way you know, because you just said you didn't. When Bellowjaw die, they transform into Fae. Okay. So those of Embercage are capable of commanding the Fae. Even deceased, even ones from Bellowjaw. Shamblefoot expands their reach to objects as well as humans. Okay, so yeah, that was just worded a little bit funny here. I thought the Banshees and Farshees belonged to Bellowjaw, but Bellowjaw will turn into them. So until they die, do they actually have any powers? Or do they just die and turn into the Fae? That almost sounds more like a curse than like a real power. They will understand the reason I need them when their minds have rewired. If I can construct a large enough orchestra, my resonance will evolve into a new form of necromancy. I'll be able to revive my sister. You do have powers for Bellowjaw. Yes. Okay. Then yeah. So then well, this little part here is confusing. We've talked about like the clarity in your writing before too, that you have a lot of like really cool world building elements. It's just that clarity in the actual like prose is just sometimes like hit or miss. This is one of those lines where I'm like, this was missing here. This got a little confusing. So the capacity to manage staff. So another secret is Shamblefoot and Embercage, the capacity to manage staff. Then I would just talk in this next one only about Embercage and Shamblefoot. I wouldn't mention Bellowjaw, because that was the confusing part of that. So she is doing all this horrific stuff to the kids because she wants to use necromancy to bring back her sister, her dead sister. My guillotine is that I'm going to say that wrong of the town. The more resonance I have, the sharper my guillotine. That role once belonged to my sister. My sister Isabel was a performer every person in this town cherished. Her voice used the magic of resonance to make the flowers bloom. Every morning the sun rising brought her voice with it. With her voice the flowers lent us their visions and their secrets. What can we do now? We have decayed, wilted future tells that cannot tell us our kids will die of a horrid plague. There is no way of evading the illness without my Isabel. So Isabel's the sister. She made these magical flowers that you have. And again, I still love the names. I love that one of them is the future tells. You've had other names you've mentioned before, and I'm like, these names for the plants are like 10 out of 10. I love them. But she's the only one in a town who can use that power. Is there anyone outside the town who could use this power? Because I assume, like, if it's just her, like, they could use other people outside the town. If this power is, like occasionally spread throughout people in the population, they could have other people to do it. There's no way of evading the illness without my Isabel. We have secret tellers that tell us rumors. Lies about our loved ones we cannot know are true because the flowers are not flourishing. Lies about our loved ones we cannot know are true. Oh! Bear! Hold on one second. I'm gonna turn off the mic real quick. He's barking. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. The neighbors are doing something. Bothering our poodle, that's what they're doing. Performers are rarer now. Gawain was supposed to become one. Okay. This one, I think you were trying to use the pretty words, again, pretty prose in this one, and it just became a little confusing again. Lies about our loved ones we cannot know are true. If they are true, then they're not lies. So it'd be something like, I'm not quite sure. That one's just not quite hitting for me. What's up? Oh, okay. Performers are rarer now. Gawain was supposed to become one. Now that she's gone, they will bloom for another reason, because those who apprentice beauty made sacrifices to win back their muse. Good, turn off the mic. Okay, I'm back. Stuff's happening. Hopefully this will be somewhat intelligible at the end of all this. Because those who apprentice beauty made sacrifices to win back their muse. Those who apprentice beauty. So there's new apprentices who are doing a sacrifice to win back their muse. Sacrifice is another source of strength for resonance. Many are not willing to let go of those they hold so dear for the sake of a performer. But what will they do when the performers are gone? What will they do when the resonance weakens, and the flowers die, the ghosts grow agitated, and the plague makes torture choirs of our children? No one will play but the rats upon screaming corpses. At least my actions will make my pupils into an orchestra rather than some rotting heap of howling flesh. And the rats will starve when I am done. Okay, well, this is page 3 of 5 right now. And it is mostly Nell, the murderous piano tutor. It is mostly her just talking to the audience. We're not actually seeing too much of the story here. She's just explaining stuff to us. We're not seeing her doing these things. It's not being revealed to us. Like, it's not like one of the peoples has stumbled upon her secret here. She's just telling the secret to the readers in chapter 4. Oh wait. Okay, My piano playing ended up attracting a species of rat that could detect and produce infrasound, the type used to monitor earthquakes. When the rats were especially active, the frequency at which they made this type of sound increased. So they can detect infrasound, they can also make infrasound noises. When they're active, they make the sound more. Okay. They even had a room of their own, one decorated with bone and ink black eyes. Every decoration was arranged into their favorite musical piece. Every decoration was arranged into their favorite musical piece. Are you talking about the kids now? The kids were decorations? Just like I thought the rats. I'm like, everything's arranged into the rats' favorite musical piece? I didn't know the rats had a preference, but I'm like, no, wait, this might be changing. We might be talking about the kids now. The notes upon the walls strengthened the resonance. Notes upon the wall. Every decoration was arranged into their favorite musical piece. So it's like the decorations form like the reading notes for musical notes? Am I understanding that right? Each body part has to be used to its fullest potential. If I am to use their organs for music, my magic demands that every feature of their musculoskeletal system have a purpose. Okay. That purpose is the performance. The notes were clear and hollow, yet the music discordant and swift. I remember its depth now, screams as shrill as the high E. I'm reminded of my daughter, who danced much like a starving bee. Don't worry, though. I removed the need for food when I rearranged it into a piano. If there is any desire left in it after the procedure, it is to sing. I sat at its corner and played Flight of the Bumblebee. It's favorite and nostalgic for the woman who spent her life caring for it. Until the day rats devoured it, nothing left but bone. I thought she would make the perfect piano. Yet like an errant bumblebee, it could only play one song, one of compliance to its own made-up melody. Its resonance was too inflexible. That was its imperfection, the sting of the only song it could muster. Its coagulated blood the wax of its lonely hive. Despina, the queen without her soldiers. Each press upon its teeth released another shriek, desperate yet harmonic with its own keys, begging to live again. I am proud to make my students sing. It's a crime that some of them didn't have the vocal cords to do so. Hello, what? It's good to see you. You're thankful, your screeching tells me so, I said. Yes, if you listened, you would hear its gratitude in its voice. So is it purposeful that she's changed from her daughter she to it, because it's a piano? That it listened from the depths and clapped to the music of its teeth. Is there anything better than hearing yourself from hell? Each time I play this instrument, a memory wells up inside me. I bathed in 8 large red candles as they went molten in a tub. The practice is meant to strengthen the hold the sorcerer has with the resonance. Okay, you're back. I'm done replying to emails over medical stuff. Oh god, emails are horrible. You're so brave, Chatty Maddie. Big respect. Let's see here. The strength of that hold allows a member of Shamblefoot, and as far as I know, to Shamblefoot exclusively, change one aspect of all reality. One aspect of all reality? Wait, what? The molten wax went solid in the cold night. I grew delirious in the mist? Where was there mist? The putrefaction surrounding me must have surfaced a rare tenderness in me. A star in the sky asked me what it was I wanted. Oh, stellar thing, if I could give you a name, if I had you in my arms right now, I'd have enough power to revive my Isabel. Yeah, Automata got you. Hold on. It wanted to hold it for bullying. Thank you. What? That's very kind. I think some people actually heard him barking in the background a bit ago. So he is still here. He's recovering at home. We're gonna enjoy hanging out with him for hopefully a good long time. But we're not gonna be talking too much about today. We're just gonna be focusing on on some storytelling for a little bit, that's all. You technically didn't even cuss. I thought I allowed the message. Why is it... That's weird. I'm sorry if I didn't accept it before. Or maybe it held it again? I'm not quite sure. That was weird. So sometimes in your writing, there is stuff that... I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase this. That is... Twitch is mean. It's true. Where what we think can't happen is real in this world. Like, sometimes they say things like, oh, the flowers will speak to us. And at first we think that's like you as the writer doing like a poetry thing. And it's like, no, that is part of this world, right? They do have these truth tell flowers. They have all these special flowers, and they do speak, and they whisper, and they grow, and they do things that in our world, us as the readers, they do not do. So when you do speak like that, at first it sounds like a poetic thing, but then it's a real thing, and that's a really cool thing. That's a nice twist, right? But sometimes what then happens is then you do more poetry stuff like this. Well, not poetry stuff, but you know, like the fancy metaphors and descriptions and stuff like. And then I had to take a step back, and I'm like, wait, I don't know if that's just using fancy flowery words, if that's doing purple prose, or if that is also real in this world. Someone says a star in the sky asked me what it was I wanted. I'm like, wait, is this actually a star speaking to her? The same way that the flowers speak to these people, right? The flowers do speak in this world. Does the star speak? Or is this just A, you as the author doing purple prose, or B, is this character Nell, who is crazy, right? We're kind of hearing from her. She's this crazy monster lady, right? She's turning all these kids into instruments. So she's a monster. Is this her being crazy? There's a live star in the sky. I'm not telling you his name. Okay, you don't have to tell me his name at all. But there is a live star. Okay, so yeah, I think the one or two times when you do use the purple prose and it's actually a real thing, it's not just purple prose, this is how the world works. It is a really good method, but I think that's shadowed by the fact that sometimes you do just use purple flowery prose sometimes, and then that is just it sounding nice, right? So I think maybe having that being more like purposeful and getting rid of some of the purple prose that's not actually happening in this world. So like in this one, when it's like every time she's pressing on the key on the teeth of the piano, right, it's shrieking and it's begging to live again. Now I have blah 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 blah. Hello, Nevermore, it's good to see you. I, as the reader, had to ask, wait, if I was standing there, could I actually hear the voice of the piano begging to live again? Because this was a kid. Or is that just the regular purple prose? Is this just a very cool, fancy, a metaphor, simile type thing going on here? Is this just fancy ways of saying, like, yeah, the music and the kids wanted to live again? This is a fancy way for the author to say it. Or is it like the flowers and the singular stars, and that is actually happening? We could actually hear the keys of the piano begging to live again. That's where it kind of gets into the confusing territory. So they bathed in 8 large red candles as they went molten in a tub. Practice meant to strengthen the hold the sorcerer has with their resonance. If I had you in my arms right now, I'd have enough power to revive my Isabel. So Shamblefoot, though, can change one aspect of reality. That seems OP. There could just be one person of Shamblefoot who could be like, I don't want human beings to breathe oxygen anymore. Thank you. I wish the star, the sun doesn't exist. Like one aspect of reality, right? They could. That's a little bit OP, right? Is there gonna be like something important that happens from that later? Um, it's curious that this piano was once my daughter, that she brings the emotions to the brim, and the eyes almost fountain up. Just one repetitive song played with this piano, and I always feel that nostalgia. Oxygen? That's optional. See? Yeah, if you're a member of Shamblefoot, you could change one aspect of all reality. So you could be like, yeah, actually, human beings don't need to breathe oxygen. And that's just like the aspect of reality you change. That's really OP. That's really overpowered. Does every house have like one ability like that that's like super overpowered? Dear God, these people will be terrifying. And I always feel that nostalgia, the memory of it building its first figure. As at the last note of its song, I felt a powerful resonance at the corner of the room. Someone behind me had started a fire. When the smoke enjoyed the slow burn. Member of Ember Cage. So that's basically like when the smoke enjoyed the slow burn. I'm like, is this also real like the flowers? Is the smoke also alive? EU has a list. Okay, okay. I'll breathe lava and water. No, wait. See, Chatty Mac, that's two. That's two. You can only control one aspect of reality. That's two. Jeez, Chatty Matty. See, now I'm wondering, like, is the smoke real? Member of Ember Cage. Each of the pianos had collapsed. The flames made my students mute again. I'll breathe words then. I heard someone screeching and so here it sounds like something is actually happening. She is playing a piano. Favorite and nostalgic for me. Okay. So yeah, here now at the 5th page, I think like okay, she is actually doing something is happening here. I heard someone screeching and moaning, the song of a woman. She couldn't be one of my students though, most of mine were mute. That silk-like voice, familiar yet unbelonging, something I had been after for years. I don't know where she came from. Where the wall was plain, a naked woman appeared. I had to save her. This woman was the final star in the dark. Her voice, hoarse from the flames, sung more beautifully than my pianos. A voice I pursued for its unwavering resonance. So I'm assuming this is the sister. You had trouble writing scenes instead of explanations. Okay, and I am noticing here, because I think the scene is just this latter half of page 5. The other 4.5 pages were mostly, I think, explanation. There had to be something in her bones I could lift from the marrow. There had to be something in her bones I could lift from the marrow. Don't you lift marrow from the bones or bones from the marrow? Hold on. Just double check that. Do you lift marrow from the bones? Hi, bear. A tenacity that would make for a lasting and versatile instrument. I'd start over with her. She could be powerful enough to revive my Isabel. So this is not Isabel. I found my singer strapped to a wall with brown leather belts. Her voice would even catch the attention of the flowers. She sang, "If my lover didn't take me, at least the devil would. My teeth will sing a skeleton song and I'll have hands of wood. Then maybe he will take me, and like a lover should, you'll dance in my self-made hell under the piano hood." So she is singing. But before she's like screeching and moaning. And I thought this was like Nell being like poetic because she's like musically insane, and saying that the screeching and moaning is the song of a woman. But I guess she is singing. Why did she suddenly appear here? So if I'm reading this scene right, it's mostly an explanation of why Nell's doing it. It's to bring her sister back through necromancy stuff. And then randomly she's playing the piano that's made from her daughter, right? She turned her daughter into a piano. And then suddenly she's saying that somebody from... Where was it? Somebody from Ember Cage is burning all the instruments. Someone behind me had stirred a fire. Where the smoke enjoyed a slow burn, a member of Ember Cage, each of the pianos had collapsed. Yeah, see, those are like several different partial sentences put together. And the flames made my students mute again. The students being the instruments. So the instruments who were her students can't make any more noise. So randomly someone from Ember Cage just comes by, sets all the pianos on fire, I guess? Or does something and each of the pianos collapse with fire. And then this woman appears, screaming, her voice hoarse from the flames. From the flames. Is her throat on fire? Is the woman on fire? Might be summoning her bones. Or is her voice hoarse from the smoke, from the flames? That'll be one of my questions. Is she actually on fire? And her voice is hoarse from, like, fire coming out of her mouth? Or is there a lot of smoke from the fire? And her voice is hoarse from the smoke? I found my singer strapped to the wall with brown leather belts. I think most of this is cleared up in the next chapter. But do you see that this is for editing purposes. I'm not sure. Sometimes we can leave questions purposely for the reader. That's not a bad thing. I'm not sure if this stuff is purposely made questions for the reader that they would then, like, proceed to the next chapter to read. This just feels a little bit confusing still. What's up inside me? Let's see here. Because I feel like most, the only actual thing that happens here, like, as far as, like, that's not her telling the audience, it's not her telling the reader stuff, is here. Which is only like, it's just a few paragraphs worth. Everything else is just her explaining stuff. So you're answering questions. And then we just randomly have, like, some questions propped up with not questions about the story or where things are happening, just with clarity. What the clarity is. And then you're saying, like, oh, the readers have to read the next chapter. That's not what readers want to feel. They want to have an intriguing question, like a mystery, like, oh, what happens next? Or, oh, does this person survive? Or oh, how is this person going to solve the mystery? They want those kind of questions. Not like little questions like, wait, I'm confused. Is her throat on fire, or is it just smoke clogging? This is just reading comprehension questions, and that's not typically what readers like. That's why, like, you'll hear me for the past few reviews, like, it's just the clarity. Yeah, when you're saying, like, oh, readers want questions to keep reading, they're purposefully placed questions, and not I'm struggling to understand and read this type questions. Those are different. Those are different things. So then, yeah, I would consider, depending on what happens, if you have, like, a story outline, that would be a little bit easier to, like, read in a future stream. We could go through an outline of what happens in your book, because right now I wonder if there would be a better, more natural spot to explain the stuff that you're telling the readers here. Like the Howling Red, explaining what the Howling Red is, I feel could have gone a bit earlier, right? This is chapter 4, I think. Yeah, chapter 4. I feel like maybe the Howling Red could have been described a bit earlier, and that would have clarified some stuff when we were reading the main character and what he was going through. Sorry, that was my throat. And then it goes back and forth a little bit here. Like, she's talking to the readers. She's then going into the past, saying she used to be one of them. She used to have the Howling Red. Then it goes forward in the flashback, talking about she inherited the 8 schools and started a school. Then it goes forward to their questions about the school and the parents asking to bring their kids back. Then it goes not into the timeline at all. It's just answering more questions. It's explaining the resonance a bit. And how she's transforming them into the pianos, which I feel could have been later, right? Some student could have walked in on her doing that, and that would have been a really cool scene. Oh, hydrate or dihydrate. Here is your sippy. Thank you for the hydrate or dihydrate. Then it just goes back into the timeline of over many years. Many have gone insane at my touch. Then it goes into the world building. Then it goes into her plans and talking back into the past about her sister Isabel. Looking into the future, how will they save themselves because there's not any story. It's just kind of jumping around a little bit. When I'm like, I feel like each of these different little jumps could have found a nice home somewhere else in your plot line that would have made sense for each of those little nuggets here. Even the rats. Let's see here. Which I did like being mentioned of the rats. Like before we got, in the last chapter, we got described the rats. And I was like, oh, what are the rats here? What's going on with this? And in this chapter, it explains the rats. And I'm like, oh, okay, this feels like a good place to talk about the rats. Hello, King. The hydrate went down in price. Yes, it did. You guys have been good for a little while. And like I said, it only went up because people were abusing the hydrate or dihydrate. As you guys are behaving, it will go back down to more normal prices. You're super hyper and can't type. Lots of typos upcoming. Thanks for the warning. You has learned something. Okay. Hey, that's what we're all here for. I hope occasionally with all my ramblings, something actually makes sense. That would be really nice, right? Let me take another sippy. Hold on. Well, as far as I know. And yeah, here it goes into a flashback again with the tub. That's what I'm saying, that there's just a lot of jumping around in the timeline here. I think each of those jumps are cool, but this isn't quite the right home for them. This scene here of playing on the piano that was once her daughter. And then this crazy thing happens. This woman appears on a blank wall. So there are blank walls here. This woman appears, and this is going to be her ticket to bringing back Isabel. I feel like most of the chapter could have been about that. That's the cool thing. Sometimes as writers, we struggle, like, what is my chapter about? What is, like, the thing that I'm trying to say here? And unless there's something else in your plot outline that's happening that this stuff needs to be brought up, I feel like this is it. If you're curious what it is, it's this. You'd like to submit the first chapter of volume 2 of my series, but I gotta figure out Google Docs. Yeah, all good. And hey, there's the submission thing right on Discord whenever you're ready. So that works. Oh, and that's right. Thank you for highlighting this, because I didn't want to edit stuff. Swinging guillotine. When I think of what's the swinging version of it? I think I know in my head what you're talking about. Swinging guillotine. Yeah, okay, it's this guy. It's this, and it moves back and forth like this, like a little thing. Okay. I was thinking, sorry, I don't know why Spider-Man's in that picture, but like a normal guillotine like this that just goes up and down, like you raise it up and then pff, it drops down. It's supposed to chop off the head. That's what I was thinking of. Now I was like, that guy doesn't swing. And then I was like, wait, I think they're talking about the swinging back and forth one. So that's why I said highlight it. I didn't want to critique you on that until I was more sure of what I was like thinking. It is called, according to this quick Google answer, the pendulum blade. Oh, let's see here. Versus pendulum blade. What is, no, I don't want to try some stupid new fucking AI mode. Get out of here. Yeah. Swing shearing. Swing shears. I'm not quite sure if this is all the pendulum blade. Okay, yeah. The pendulum was a rumored torture and execution method. So yeah, maybe this is what you were trying to talk about there. Maybe that's it. But when I first heard swinging guillotine, I was like, wait a second. Maybe just look into it. Maybe look up if there's a, like, if it's the pendulum or if there is another name for it. Because that one tripped me up a little bit. But otherwise, I think that's my critique. I think we focused on what type of questions to ask to leave for our readers that keep them engaged but not frustrated. And that one was just a little thing. And then the clarity of Shamblefoot, Ember Cage. Why was Bellowjaw mentioned here? Talking about what was the purpose of this chapter, and the purpose was this later half here. You locked in a bit and got 202 words done for my intro. T, that's fantastic. I'm so excited for you. That's wonderful. I'm gonna take a sippy real quick. But Callie, I know we have mentioned the clarity before, and this is all just, again, the first pass. I'm not expecting that to change because you're just showing us different snippets of the work, so that will be like a more consistent thing until you do another pass at it. So if you had a particular thing you wanted my feedback on or any critiques specifically, please feel free to let me know and I'll try to give you my thoughts on it. Like Chatty Matty action before, like I gave critique on something Chatty Matty did, and they're like, no, specifically what do you feel about this character? How did this come across to you? And I went back and I gave critique about that. So if there's something in specific you want me to comment on, you can feel free to let me know, and I'll try my best to give my opinion. But hey, I'm just a blue person on your screen. Hello, Maddie. Yes. Not to put you on the spot, I just wanted to make sure I didn't want to make you think like, oh, Cryptid just keeps giving the same advice. This is so annoying. If there was something in particular you wanted me to talk about, I was more than happy to do it. And that's my favorite starter of that gen. Oh, the little Pokemon one. Oh my goodness. I'm so like classic old school. I grew up on like the original Pokemon cartoon series. So like as the movies and stuff started coming out the other generations, I was like, what? I'm so far behind on all the different Pokemon. There's Pokemon I have no idea coming out, and there's all these like new like is it fusions? There's like these new like shadow evolutions. There's something new that's happening that they're not the normal evolutions, and I'm like, what is this? Hello, Lunar Knight. It's good to see you. We do storytime critiques over here, at least sometimes. Sometimes I do other stuff as well, but people actually submit their writing, we read a couple pages, and at the end of it, I give critique. I try to give a couple pieces of critique to help you guys all out in your writing, whatever that type of writing may be. So if that's something you're interested in, then hey, feel free to hang out and pull up a chair and listen on in. You think what you always have in mind when I write is the atmosphere. Okay, I think the parts where the atmosphere was the best was surprisingly enough the dialogue. I felt like it's Nell, right? Nell's dialogue, because I feel like the atmosphere was creepy, a little like murdery, insane, a little like crazy, murderous music teacher, right? That vibe. She's smart, she's intelligent, she's a little bit insane. She's doing this dark necromantic magic, right? The parts where I had like the shivers going down my spine, or I thought like, oh, this is good and creepy, were her dialogue. Like saying, you're thankful, your screeching tells me so, I said. That I was like, that's a good line. That's a good spooky line. Um let's see. Some of the longer ones didn't have it, but her short lines, I think I said this in the last chapter too, her dialogue scenes, I was like, oh, that's good. She says some cool spooky shit, 100%. I feel like that's when the vibe was the strongest. In my second chat today, I do need to know how Barry's mom and Sunreal come off. Okay. Mega evolution, was that what I was trying to say? Long time no see. Hello, hello. So yeah, Cal, I think that's the parts where the atmosphere came out the best, was with that spooky dialogue she has. She has a good voice. But the actual her talking and explaining stuff, I was like, this is kind of removing us from it, because it is spooky that she's turning kids into pianos, right? That is 100% evil spooky stuff. That fits the vibe. But it loses the punch because she's just breaking immersion and like looking at the readers and telling them it. And I'm like, whoa, wait, why is a character telling us it? That's weird. Like, why are we having a conversation with the character here? This isn't Deadpool, you know, unless you're going for that vibe. But it didn't feel like you were. So this would have been a cool thing of like one of the kids stumbling upon her, turning her daughter into a piano, right? That would have been the spooky scene that would have nailed that atmosphere, because you have all the components, right? I feel like that would have hit the atmosphere you were trying for a little bit better. If the Pokemon changes a bit, but it's temporary, it's wait, if it's temporary? It's temporary? The Mega Evolutions are temporary? What do you mean? What do you mean Mega Evolutions are temporary? Nobody told me this. What? Is it really an evolution if it's temporary? Isn't that just like a power-up? Isn't that just a kid you gave some Red Bull to and they'll calm down after a few hours? Like, what? It's not an evolution. Otherwise, it's regional variants. I did like the regional variants. When I saw that stuff being introduced, I was like, that's cool, because it makes sense, right? It makes sense that some of the plant Pokemon here, if they're then on an island, those island variations of the plant Pokemon would look different, right? Like something that's turtle over here, it will look different over there. Those things make sense. But yeah, like a temporary evolution, it involves an item called a Mega Stone. Dear fucking god. Hello, hello, Drowning. It's good to see you. Welcome on in. That's why I stick to Digimon. Sorry, isn't there like the joke that people just stick to Digimon because they have some more... they have some of the more like sexy like they're basically humans, just like with angelic wings or stuff on it. They have some more of the sexy characters, and everyone's like, yeah, we know why you like Digimon. I don't know if that's true, I just remember that was a joke for a while. Meowth has 3 variants? You're just making my room so hot, so how do I do that? Like, whenever I hear edit, my brain interprets that as rewrite everything. Oh, please, dear God, no, we do not need to do that. What's the big TikTok book that got a lot of backlash? The Age of Scorpius thing, where she did like 100 rewrites. She did 100 versions of it, and everyone's like, okay, why is it still read like a first draft then? It's because she just rewrote it start to finish without without actually like looking at the previous version, so it still has all the previous mistakes and like new mistakes in it. Like, that's not how we do a rewrite. You prefer Pokemon? It's probably just a me thing. You also prefer Pokemon. Oh, is this gonna be a challenge now? Who likes Digimon? Who likes Pokemon? Choose now. You can only choose one. Alolan and Galarian Meowth. Ooh, so how would I go about getting your critique on something I've written? Just curious. There is a Discord, and just read the Discord rules. They're not scary rules. It's just saying like, hey, behave. Nothing, not safe for work. Sexy stuff in here. And then so no spicy scenes. I just don't read and critique spicy scenes on here because that gets a little embarrassing to read. And then after that, there's just literally a spot right there in the Discord that says story submissions. And sometimes then when I stream, if I'm not doing anything else like gaming or something, then we go through and I will check who's online. So if you're online during a stream and you're like, hey, I want you to read one of mine, I'll be like, sure. And I'll go through story submissions and I'll find yours and I'll read yours. I try to wait until they're actually in stream. I don't like to give critique if you're not here, because kind of like Callie is, right? That we go back and forth a bit. I ask like, hey, clarify, what does this mean? Is it made clear later? Is this purposely vague? Something like that. And they're like, oh yeah, there's lore for that. That it's explained later. And I'm like, okay, and we can go back and forth a bit. So I like, and then also questions too, like Sir Chatty Matty, like sometimes asked like, hey, what do you specifically think of these characters? You gave critique on other stuff, but how is this character working? And I'll go back and I'll give my thoughts on what you guys ask for. So that's why I like to wait until they're actually in chat. Was a region based on Hawaii? You need your own to get cooler. Take. You said you have a heater on. That's why it's warm. You turned a heater on. Like, the heater's gonna heat it up. Why are you confused, Kelly? I might. There's been a lot of stuff going on. We'll see how far I get. But Callie's asking, how do I do the edit? How do I physically edit? So I got feedback. Is it just rewriting it from scratch, or how do I do an edit? So right now, it depends on how much of what you take my critique to heart, right? Because you as a writer could say, hey, Cryptid gave me this great piece of advice, but all the other words out of her mouth were trash, right? And that's absolutely fine. The advice is given for free. You can throw it away for free, right? I was thinking about another story that I need to figure out when to explain and when to have a scene. When to explain. It is hard. The general advice, and again, there's no hard rules in writing. It's just if you break the rules, you should break it intentionally, right? You should be breaking a rule for a purpose. Otherwise, it just feels a little clunky. But yeah, every rule can be broken. Just do it intentionally. The general rule then is that you don't want to explain too much, if at all. You mostly just want to be having a scene, and things will be explained in the scene. You should be having a scene that shows stuff. Did I pause my lo-fi beats? Yes, I did. I take Cryptid's advice to heart. You shouldn't. Take everything with a grain of salt. Even me. And that's one of the things, right? Like, advice and critique is so valuable. But there will be people, including me, and sometimes we could lead you astray because we don't see the whole vision. So it's up to you to look at the vision, what you want to accomplish, hear the critique and feedback logically, not being hurt, and also not blindly trusting it, and then seeing, okay, how can I apply this? What is the best way to apply this critique? I don't think there's anybody that you should be blindly taking it from, right? Because they're not going to be writing your story. They're not going to be as in love with it as you are. So I say always take everything with a grain of salt. Lord knows in this world, take everything with a grain of salt. So my recommendation, let's say hypothetically, I gave you all good advice for this, right? Like, let's say Cryptid was perfect. I absolutely nailed what you were trying to communicate. I pointed out exactly what needs to be written about and what needs to be deleted. Let's say I did that. So you might have notes here. You could make little notes in your Google document here that could highlight things like this, like the swinging guillotine, and you might make note like, hey, clarify, maybe pendulum, do more research. You would do notes along the side here. You might even select, when I said like, oh, the Howling Red, you might make a note here saying, oh, delete here, make reference of this in an earlier chapter, right? And you'll go through your notes, because I said a lot of these scenes are good. This just isn't the right spot for it. Like for every student, there is one grand piano. I must disguise my intentions behind a tutor with some higher purpose. Think about where you want these scenes. Like even like them, like people asking, "Where's my child?" They asked, Why has she been gone for so long? Bring her back." There could be a note here, like maybe insert here rather than as a flashback in this series of flashbacks. Maybe make a note like, "Oh, put in different chapter in scene of parents outside the school asking for their kids. The kids are looking out the window seeing the parents or something, right? Like have a scene where this is happening, and then maybe that the teacher comes by and like closes the windows and shutters and she goes, just ignore that, keep playing the piano. Yeah, and that scene might not work for you, but you get the idea. Like have a scene that is showing that. And then you would keep going through all those notes here. And then my big note was, where did this story start? I sat at its corner and played Flight of the Bumblebee. So she's here playing the piano. That was her daughter. We are back in the flashbacks, and then here. At the last note of its song, I felt a powerful resonance at the corner of the room. Someone behind me had started a fire. And then I highlighted all this, and I'm like, this is the chapter. This is what I have. So you would have a note here off to the side, like, this is the chapter, expand. And then everything above it, you'd be like, just go through, off here on the site, go through, re-choose spots for these scenes to be, and delete. And then you would have this for chapter 4. And you write expand, and you would look at the stuff you like here. And you might be like, okay, I might not want to start chapter 4 with her finishing the song at the piano. Maybe chapter 4 actually starts with her turning the daughter into the piano after the rats have scuttled off of her, right? So it might start with the rats scuttling off her body. She's taking everything apart. She's doing this dark magic ritual to turn her into a piano. I think then she's hearing. She might be hearing from the previous chapter, like the beams falling down. Maybe she's just ignoring it. She's doing another thing, like the back turns into the keys of a piano, whatever all the different body parts are. And she's just going through, and the rats are going away. You can hear the rats scuttling about in different parts of the house, going back to their room. I think you said there was a particular room the rats hang out in. And then it's her playing the song, and then at the end of it, as the keys fade out, then I guess she's done a ritual or something. I was a little bit unclear, so that's why I said make it a bit longer, make it a bit clearer. She has summoned this woman on the wall, Supernatural style, right? I'm thinking of the opening scene in Supernatural, where their mom's on the ceiling on fire. That's what I'm kind of picturing here, but she's just on a wall. And clarify, is she screaming or is she actually singing? Is she being summoned? Did she randomly appear? Go through, make this section longer. And that's what the chapter is. And you would do another pass of that. And then you would submit it, not necessarily to me, but in general to your friends, to your critique buddies, to me, to other writing groups, wherever you're getting feedback from. And you would now have this new chapter 4. And then people would then make new comments and critiques. They might be like, hey, here's a spelling fix. Here's this part I like. Here's where the pacing went off. And then you continue to fix it from there, making notes on the side of what to get rid of, what to keep, what things you want to rephrase, what things need to be clarified or not clarified, right? Maybe you want to purposely leave a mystery, right? And you'll keep making the notes, and that will guide the rewriting process. But just going in blind can sometimes be really hard. Just rewriting everything from scratch and just trying to keep those mental notes in your head can be too confusing. You're going to miss stuff again. And the purpose of the first draft was to get everything down with the plot holes, right? The second draft, we now make notes. We're going to tidy up those plot holes. We're going to tidy up that pacing. And now we can actually do another draft with that roadmap. But if you don't have those notes on the side telling you what to fix and what not to fix, then you don't have a roadmap. You're just driving blind again. You know what I mean? That can be really confusing. So hopefully that made sense. Hopefully that's a little bit helpful, but that's at least how I approach my rewriting. Not that I particularly like rewriting, but hey, if so, hey, if you don't like rewriting, you and me both, buddy. It's all good. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, thank you for asking the question. I hope it helps. But yeah, normally I have, and I like writing my notes on physical paper. I like writing on physical paper. So I have notes just fucking scribbled and scrawled all over physical paper. I will print it out and I will make notes. Sometimes I'll even have my scenes and I'll write down each scene, and then I'll like stand back and I'll look at it. I'm like, okay, this is the scene I need to fix. I'm going to physically move that note card that has that scene, and I'm going to put it earlier, and I'm going to get rid of these postcards. I'm going to put in a new postcard with a different scene. um I know cryptids are most likely non-existent, then I remember the platypus exists. Oh my goodness. Yeah. See, you'll be amazed. You'll be amazed at all the stuff that's real. And then you remember stuff too, like Loch Ness Monster isn't really a proper cryptid. That's just a ghost of a dinosaur, you know? Nessie is just a ghost of a dinosaur. That's why you can't find her. That's why you guys can't like scan the lake and actually find her. She's just a ghost. She just appears sometimes. God's middle finger to evolution. You mean evolution because you were talking about Pokemon earlier, or evolution? Platypus? Do you mean Perry the platypus? No, it's only one particular platypus, and he has to have a hat. If he doesn't have the hat, that's not Perry the platypus. Evolution. Okay. Sorry, I thought it was a pun because we were talking about Pokemon earlier, so I'm like, oh, nice pun to bring in evolution there. Nope. But yeah, that's typically how I would go through a scene like this. I'd make all my notes. I'd write down every thought. I would not try to keep it all up in my head. My brain's just gonna forget about it. At least that's how my brain works. So I'd mark down everything, every note that I have about the scene. Oh, evolution! I know this well. I used to breed Eevees. That's so cute. I didn't really have a lot of Pokemon games. I just had the TV show. I just watched the show. That poor Ditto. That's either a very poor Ditto or a very, very lucky Ditto. Because it depends on how much it liked being in the, was it the daycare? Was that what it was? The breeding center or a daycare or something like that? I forget. So it's either very poor Ditto or very happy Ditto. It's nice that you can do that too with like the legendaries. I don't know. That Ditto had over 2,000 kids. Oh no. Well, hey, it was a Pokemon. It doesn't have to pay child support. Oh my goodness. There was a like an animal pony breeding game that I did used to play, and like you could make like little baby ponies and they grow up, and you could have like more like that. There was like the breeding element to it, same as the Pokemon stuff. Hello, my little Word document Ouija board. But one of the mechanics in it was inbreeding. You could have inbred the animals, and that would be a negative factor in the questing and the experience they would gain. So if they had like 1% inbreeding, they would get 1% less experience. If they had 20% inbreeding, they would get 20% less experience for completing quests and stuff. And I'm like, man, I wonder if they could have done something like that in Pokemon, where like if you did have your Ditto, all the Pokemon babies were made from that one Ditto, like father or something, right? If you could then if you ever tried to do anything with the offspring, you'd be like, oh no, there's inbreeding, fuck. I mean, you're a mammal with the bill of a duck and the tail of a beaver. You lay eggs, sweat milk, turn turquoise in the sun. You are venomous. How the fuck? See? Yeah. Should a platypus be an honorary cryptid? Are we inviting them to the cryptid community? I also discovered a game where the whole premise was having babies. Some people don't even do that as a game. Some people just act like that in real life. Oh no. Tito! What, por qué? Isn't that asking like what or something? I don't remember. Pourquoi? Well, in Sweet Home Alabama, a horse is forced into. Basically, there would be like new kids who would start playing the game, like like they're like kids. It was just a pony game, right? It was just a little horse game, and you wouldn't take that seriously at first. You would just like want to like, oh, this horse and this horse are gonna kiss and they're gonna have a baby pony or something, right? You wouldn't pay attention to it, and as long as it came out as a pretty horse, right? As long as it was a pretty pony in the end, and so there was like a lot of kids, and they make monstrosities. Sweet Home Alabama monstrosities. 99% inbreeding. uh, I'm not sure if it'll be read today, but I sent something good. Thank you so much. And yeah, it depends on how long I stream for today. I'm not quite sure. I'll be streaming for super long tonight. I did warn everyone in the Discord this was going to be a shorter stream today. Callie will now be sleeping. Thank you so much, Callie, for submitting, and I hope the feedback like helps you out. I'm looking forward to seeing how you take this fantastic world and this world building and the cool dialogue, and we shape up some of those questions that the readers are having, so we have this really interesting immersion into this world you created. Because I'm really excited for that. So I hope this helps you a little bit on your journey in doing that. Kentucky law: you can have relations with your horse, but your cousin, she better be after menopause. I'm too scared to look that up. I'm too scared. For clarity, I find that law gross. I'm too scared to even look up if it's real. No, I'm not trusting the world today. I'm not trusting the internet, and I'm not trusting the world. So let me take a sippy. Ah, this bleach tastes amazing. But no, thank you guys so much. I actually think it's about to be 11 p.m. here. I think today was a short stream. I think I'm going to end it here. But thank you guys so much for hanging out. I hope the critique helped. I hope you guys enjoyed the story time. I got some wild laws that have been forgotten. I feel like yeah, not gonna lie. Yeah, 100%. But thank you guys. I hope you guys all have a wonderful night. We'll hopefully have a longer stream, not tomorrow, but the next day, when I'm just feeling a little bit more up to it. But for now, this was a wonderful, like, little coming back from the break. And thank you guys so much. And I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Take care. Goodbye.